All right, guys, gals, thanks for coming. I know you guys are excited. Just kick off this 2019 football season. Football's in the air, and there's no better time of year than the start of the season. So we're excited. I'm excited. Our coaches, our team. We've got a great group of seniors that have an unbelievable relationship with each other, with the coaching staff. There's a tremendous culture within our program. And we all firmly believe that everything starts with a really good, healthy culture where the team is the most important thing. You don't want to let the team down. You don't want to let each other down. And I'm here to tell you that I've never seen it greater than it is right now, which is a tribute to the people that have come before them. But this is a class of seniors that has lived in that world of a great culture and understands the value of it. We're returning some very talented players. Both sides of the ball. We're probably the most athletic that we've been. We have great team speed. We have outstanding athletic ability and top end. Some areas have more experience than others, but I think we've recruited very, very well and very, very excited about the guys that will appear to be some new names and new faces that our fans have not seen. We couldn't be more ecstatic about having Virginia Tech be our opener. The amount of urgency that creates with our team is fantastic. We're playing an elite team in our conference on opening day here in Chestnut Hill at Alumni Stadium. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So there's a sense of urgency about our preseason camp, realizing how much of a short time it is before we get started here against Virginia Tech. So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be exciting, and really looking forward to opening day. We're in the grind of it right now. We've been in practice here for 4 days, and things are going well, and we're starting to build that real structure of the 2019 team. So I'm happy to answer any questions for you. Feel free to ask. Yes, sir.
No, Mike, go ahead. Just how do you plan on structuring the team for the first scrimmage on Saturday?
It'll be ones versus ones, twos versus twos, so the one offense versus the one defense. And we'll have a lot of periods on the day where we call move it, which means essentially scrimmage to you. Move the chains. If you don't move them, come off the field, the two offense will go out, etc. So they can simulate having to get a first down to stay on the field or come off of the field. There'll be some situational things wove in, but it's going to be a move it period, and I would suspect we're going to strive for somewhere between 70 and 75 snaps for the ones, because as you get closer to game time, you're less likely to want to be able to put them in that situation, but yet they have to feel what that is. If we plan on running 90 snaps in a game, if that's our goal, we need to at least get to 70 or 75 to feel that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Coach, what are your defined goals as far as win totals and bowl expectations? We always,
a lot of you guys have been here have heard me say before, first and foremost, more this year than ever, obviously. Think about the quality of who we're playing on opening day. Win the opener. You've got to have your goals set. Win the opener. That's the most important thing in front of us, and that's what we have to get done. So that's goal number one. Goal number two is get bowl eligible, okay? Because that's the next goal that there is in college football. And then goal number three is to have an opportunity to compete for a championship, okay? So that's where we are, and you line up your goals and you attack them. Right now, we spend all of our time talking about winning the opener.
But as far as 7, 8, 9, whatever, there's no.
Never discussed that. No. Never have I anywhere I've ever been have I been involved with discussing. Hey, you're certainly not going to go out and say, hey, let's rally and go win 5. Let's go get them and go win 8. Oh, so coach, you don't care about the rest of them? I mean, it just doesn't. That conversation doesn't go anywhere. I think winning the opener, everybody can sink their teeth into that. Getting bowl eligible, everybody can sink their teeth into that. And then have an opportunity to compete for a conference championship or a division championship. Everybody can sink their teeth into that. And I just think that that's an appropriate way for your program to aspire and to move towards. And the rest of that, we all know how hard this conference is and the side we're on. So we can figure out what that means moving towards winning a championship. So once you get bowl eligible at 6, the rest of it kind of speaks for itself if you want to contend for a championship, where that's going to be. Yes, sir.
Coach, you mentioned the team athleticism and team speed and all
Yep.
that. How has that kind of helped you develop or maybe get a little more complex with just how you approach the team, some of the things that fundamentally
Yeah.
maybe get a little more complex?
Well, like last year, I'll give you an example. And, you know, we were the third most explosive team in the conference last year. We had the most explosives. That was a direct result of athleticism, speed and athleticism on offense. On defense, last year we have 3 guys from our back end currently in NFL camps, right? And we have 5 or 6 over the last 5 years. So that speaks to athleticism. So I think what it does for you is it increases your explosive capability. We talk about in our program guys that can score touchdowns. Like, there's a lot of good backs out there, but they're not all home run hitters, meaning if they get a step on somebody, can they go 80, 90 yards for a touchdown? Or are they great 5, 6, 7 yard runners, but if they get a step, they can't bring it home. We have more than one home run hitter in the backfield. We have receivers that have dynamic speed, that can run by a secondary, even the best of secondaries, and be able to hit a home run. We have a quarterback that would be considered an extremely athletic quarterback by any standard in Power 5 football, who has a very, very strong arm. We have tight ends that are unbelievably versatile, that in the pass game are extremely effective route runners and are weapons in the throw game. And in the back end, we have great speed in the back end. I mean, give you an example. Our 2 corners right now, projected 2 corners, Brandon Sebastian, who's the starter last year, and Tate Haynes. Both are sub 4.5 40 guys. Both are 6 feet. They're big. And by corner standard, that's a big corner. 6 foot guys at 190, 195 pounds that can run sub 4.5. By any standard, by any program, those are long, athletic guys with top end speed. So that's why I made the comment that we're athletic, and our team speed is good.
As a follow-up to that, how much of that kind of comes from the class that came before them, and how much are they helping the class that's coming up behind them?
Well, I think culturally, those classes before set the foundation for your culture. There's an expectation of what it is to be a BC man. And then that's what we like to talk about, a BC man. We recruited BC men. We want to develop BC men. A BC man for us is faith, character, toughness, and passion. That's how we define that. And that is the culture of our program, okay? And so the older guys have established that for the younger guys. And last year's class did an unbelievable job, of really pushing that rock over the top, right? Every class had a role, but last year pushed it over the top. This year's class wears that like a badge of honor. And that now trickles down to so the freshmen that are now coming in are coming into that environment completely, okay? Whereas last year's seniors wasn't necessarily exactly where you wanted to be when they were a freshman, but now they have been a part of bringing that over the top. So I think that culture is a huge thing within your program, and I think that this senior class will pass that, have already started to pass that down to the younger guys. And, and just, listen, the continuity here at Boston College, I'm going into my 7th year. The continuity in the program has really helped us in recruiting. We have evidenced, take last year's team, that 4 drafted, 10 free agents, 1 first rounder, 14th pick of the first round of the NFL draft, okay? Speaks to the fact that with continuity, you can continue to recruit well, and you can continue to build your program. When you don't have that, there's gaps in your recruiting. So, the beautiful story here is that we've been able to keep recruiting and developing. And that's critically important. And while doing that, be able to bring BC men in here. and represent the university in first-class fashion. And that goes back to your question about this senior class, moving that forward to these younger guys. What's the standard to be a BC man? We're not compromising that. No, you're not going to behave that way. No, you're not going to act that way. No, that effort's not good enough. Blah, 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 right? Yes, sir.
Steve, last year you found some added depth in the backfield, kind of forced when AJ goes down. How much will you kind of maybe monitor his workload a little bit, knowing that one ankle can change things?
I think we will monitor it, and I think that we'll want to. There are going to be games where he's going to just, he's going to, if he's healthy, he's going to carry a huge load. That's what great tailbacks do. But we will be conscious and pick and choose, and of course you need that depth as you just documented. So, we've got David Bailey behind AJ, who's another 250-pound back. He's not a freshman anymore. He's a totally different looking guy right now. I mean, he is in phenomenal shape and understands exactly offensively, schematically what we're doing. So, I mean, look for him to be another big back that has great ability. And then, of course, Travis Levy and Ben Glines have played tailback and won games for us. I mean, Travis Levy went on the road and was an integral part in beating Virginia Tech and really kind of took that game over. And both those guys are playing dual roles as receivers slash tailbacks. And they're outstanding. I mean, they have great speed and great vision. So you have these two big bangers, one of which has got freak speed, and then you've got these other two guys that are extremely athletic with great ball skills coming out of the backfield. And so we have built a good bank of veteran. They've all played. Not one of them hasn't played of that group. And so that's exciting. And you need them all. You just need them all. You never know, along with everything else you talk about is being unbelievably optimistic and really feeling great about your season, you need an element of good fortune. Everybody does, and part of that good fortune is staying healthy. But when you don't, you've got to be able to handle that. And some positions we're deeper than others. Some we can handle better if we get a rash of injuries, and some maybe we couldn't.
What were AJ's takeaways from last year, and what have you seen in the offseason that maybe leads you to believe that he could take it up to yet another level this season?
Well, he certainly can take it up to another level. He's become a better student of the game, a more complete student of the game. He understands that he has spent a lot more time in the pass game, both receiving the ball out of the backfield and in protection game. And then he also understands, like any young kind of stardom player, how to handle the emotional highs and lows, whether it be because of a injury or whether it just be notoriety, but how you handle all of those things. I think as you get older and mature, you become better at handling the peaks and the valleys. And so I think with his work ethic, with his time that he's put in as a student of the game, with his maturity, both from age and from experience now of having to deal with the highs and the lows and how to be able to really stay focused and not let external things have a place with you. I think that's the maturation that you hope you're going to have with a higher level, star level player that is going to receive so much attention, And then just dealing with injury. Young guys sometimes it's not easier for them to deal with injury, It seems like every year with the advance of the internet and everything else, everybody's just so attuned to, you used to hear like, oh, I got a ankle sprain. Now you have a high ankle sprain that has a medial component and some other stuff that I can't even regurgitate, right? And they know it. They can recite that, So there's hyper-focus, and you have to learn how to handle that. When Pete Cronin played, they didn't have any face masks, They didn't even acknowledge that they had an injury. I don't know if that's because, I don't even want to go down that path. Who knows? But we're in a new world today. So if Pete played today, he probably would miss a lot of games. Yes, sir.
What was it about Mike and your decision to bring him as an offensive coordinator, just his personality? What led to that decision?
Yeah, I mean, we interviewed and spoke with a fair amount of candidates. And I just loved Mike. First of all, I don't know if this is any particular order, but I love the fact that he's a Bergen Catholic guy from New Jersey, which is one of our most important recruiting areas. And in that area, when you come out in the Northeast, when you want to recruit in the Northeast, it's hard to be a stranger in a strange land. So I love that. I love the fact that he wanted to be at a Catholic Jesuit institution. That was really important to him, and I love that, because that speaks to, understanding what it is to be at BC at a higher level. I love the fact that he had started at the bottom levels of coaching and worked his way up all through the college rank to the elite college level, and then through into the NFL, and that he had coached the quarterbacks in the NFL. And I wanted to make sure that we had a great quarterback teacher in Scott Loeffler, and I wanted to make sure we maintained a high level of quarterback instruction. Also, I wanted to find somebody that believed in kind of what we believe in, philosophically from an X and O standpoint. A lot of our game is pro-based. And Mike was, Mike had come from a background a little bit like me, where he had been involved with spread offenses and had that component, but also had the pro component with it. And his heavy point of emphasis is the quarterbacks and the throw game, okay? And I really felt like, one of the things we need to improve on this year in order to take the next step is our third down. And I thought he'd bring great value. And then, of course, who he is as a man, what he stands for as a husband and as a father, and the way he relates to our players, the way that he handles our staff, the way that he and I interact. I just knew that we were aligned and we were on the same page. So I gave you a pretty long answer and pretty detailed, because I feel that good about it. Yes?
It seems like, again, the tight ends are a pretty deep, talented group for you
Yeah.
guys, even though you lost Tommy. How has sort of Mike been able to, help involve those tight ends into what he's bringing in? Has it changed that much?
No. So, we had, our vision was we wanted to be a 12 personnel team that would never have to substitute, and we could play in tempo. And part of that vision means you have to be able to go out and recruit and maintain a pretty high level of tight end play and depth in your tight end room. And we put a lot of time over the last couple of years in the involvement of the tight end, not just in the run game, but in the throw game. And the beautiful thing is that Mike, that's where Mike is too. And so, he's excited about the utilization of that position. And so we're enhancing that as we go, to be honest with you. We're continuing to enhance that. And we lost a really good one in Tommy, who right now looks like he's right now starting in the NFL as of right now. But we have outstanding ones that are here. These guys are all pro caliber level players. They can run, they can catch, they can block, they can do a lot of things. So we have a fair number, and we need a fair number, because when you're playing 2 in every snap, you probably need to have 6 at least that you feel can play in a game.
Take time for one more. Tyler Vrabel was a guy you mentioned you're really excited about. What is it in his game that's maybe changed or improved that has you excited like that?
Well, first of all, he loves ball. I mean, this is a guy that loves ball. I mean, comes from a dad that loves ball, and he loves ball. He's so classic us, you know what I mean? I mean, here was an under-recruited guy who had a great passion for football, right? And, he's got unbelievable feet, athleticism, and, here's a guy that's a 310-pound guy, 312-pound guy who moves on that field unbelievable, and fun to coach. I mean, he'll be our starting left tackle and has a chance to be starting there for the next 4 years. And he's got a high level ceiling. So, it's been a lot of fun to be around him and to coach him, be a part of watching his development. He's a young guy, so he's got a lot more development to go. But he along with several other guys like Alec Lindstrom and these guys are why we're so optimistic about our offensive line. We feel like we have a chance to be better than we were a year ago. we lost a couple really good players, right? One guy we just duly documented, and another guy, Aaron Montero, who's doing really well in Jacksonville. But we're gonna be 7 or 8 deep up front, and we're super talented. I'll make this statement right now that you'll see down the road, we'll have 5 or 6 of those guys will be NFL players, and so we're going to be good up front. And we can handle some injuries. You certainly can't handle too many, but we have some depth. So I'm excited about that as well. It all starts up front, and he's a big piece of that, as is, as are the rest of them, right? That front seven's pretty good if you look at it through a front 7 glass. The 2 tight ends and the 5 offensive linemen, Benny Petrullo and John Phillips. You guys, John Phillips is a guy that's really come a long way in our program. I mean, he's a heck of a player. He's the next guy coming out of here. He's the senior that's going to be leaving after this season, and he'll go on and play at the next level. He's really having a great off season, a great camp, and he's a heck of a player. So, those guys, there's a good culture. Chris and Aaron were a huge part of really and John Baker, of really driving that culture in that offensive line room. And you better have a good one there, because that's really important, because that's 5 of the 11 positions on one side of the ball at one time.
Steve, thank you.
Okay, guys, thanks very much.
More so, I have to see it first. I don't know.
Good, man.
Steph. Hi. Good. How are you? Did you just get here?
I like it too. And just in terms of like, yeah.